Hello and welcome to all our viewers around the world and in Nigeria to Business Point on Global Television. We're live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Queen Agaba. And of course, on Business Point, we x-ray Nigeria's economy. We talk about government policy, tech, as well as innovation. Now, following a bouquet of reforms launched by the Apex Bank to sanitize the foreign exchange markets at the inception of President Bola Tinubu's administration, the local currency had received direct heat from attackers who are mostly currency speculators. However, the Central Bank of Nigeria appeared to have finally subdued, arguably, one of the most grueling and multifaceted attacks on the Naira in recent times, according to data compiled on a daily turnover on the official Nigerian Autonomous Foreign Exchange Market, NAFEM. It was revealed that the market has recorded a total turnover of $12.66 billion over 3 months. The trend in the daily turnover shared fluctuations in the value, with some days recording relatively low turnovers and others recording high amounts. Joining me on the program is Tonye George, General Manager Operations, EQ Markets Global, to discuss the Naira comeback and a chance for economic turnaround. Good morning, Mr. Tonye. We'll take a quick break.
Yes, I believe you can hear me, right?
We'll be connected with our guest. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Good morning, Mr. Tonye. It's good to have you on the program again. Okay. Now, Dr. Yemi Cardoso the other day was saying confidently in Washington, D.C., that from being rated, the worst foreign currency in the world, the Naira is now the strongest performing currency in the world, and that can be attributed to the strength, and effectiveness of the monetary policy choices from the central bank and those policies that the central bank has made. I would have loved, for our guest, to share his thoughts on that, and also, to comment on the excitement. There's been a lot of excitement, fascination that Nigeria particularly has been able to get, over the $2.25 billion loan, and we're giving a 10-year moratorium, and of course a 1% interest. That's according to the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun. He says he attributes that statement to like having a free lunch, having to pay little or no interest. We're giving a 1% interest. That's like having free money, and according to him, on the fiscal side, what they intend to do is to take long-term low-interest loans, while soaring up resource mobilization in Nigeria. We'd also love for our guests, to expand on that, share his thoughts, on what this is for Nigeria, judging from experience, what we've seen, what has been obtained in the past, where we see cases where we borrow money and we can't see appreciable investments in terms of infrastructure, impact from borrowing, and all that, despite the many promises that we have. We're just going to take a quick break, and when we come back, hopefully we get connected with our guests to discuss the Naira comeback and lots more. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Many thanks for staying with us. If you've just joined us, this is Global Television, where we x-ray Nigeria's economy. We talk about tech, government policies, and innovation. I'll be speaking with Tonya George, who is the GM Operations EQ Markets. Good morning, Mr. Tonya. I believe we're now connected with him. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Good morning. Hope you can hear me now.
Yes, I can hear you clearly. I can hear you clearly. I'm just going to
Amazing.
reiterate.
Amazing. Good to be here again.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Hmm.
The other time, Yemi Cardoso, like I said the other day, was saying confidently in Washington, D.C., that from Nigeria, from being rated, the Naira particularly, from being rated the worst foreign currency in the world, is now the strongest performing currency. And he attributes that to the strength and effectiveness of the monetary policy choices that the central bank has made. I want to hear your thoughts. I want you to, speak in that light. What do you think?
All right. So I think that speculation or that announcement were based on where the naira was as at December 2023 and January 2024, when we saw the naira had a very massive bullish movement up onto about 1,900 naira to a dollar, right? And of course, that was coming from the the free float of the naira, where we saw that it moved from about 750 or so of a dollar to about 1,900. And of course, anybody would most likely say that, okay, looking at it, the naira is the worst performing. Of course, we would definitely all agree with that. Don't also forget that that large movement to the upside, okay, of naira moving from 750 to about 1,900 to a dollar is also going to affect our GDP. All right, that is our gross domestic product. Okay, and it's also going to affect our GDP per capita. So of course, yes, it would have been. We would personally, I would agree to whoever organization that is saying that the naira is the worst performing as at December and January this year. All right, but looking at things from the last 1 month or the last say 2 months, we've seen a massive appreciation of the naira against the dollar. Of course, falling from all the way from 1,900, it even got to 990. I mean, that is super amazing. Okay, it simply means that the naira appreciated by over 50%. All right, looking at its price at 1,900. And of course, within a very short period of time, considering the monetary policies and other things that Yemi Cardoso and his team are doing, we've seen that the naira was being able to manage and appreciate against the dollar in the last 2 or 3 months. So yes, it is also right for me to say that I would basically join Cardoso to say that yes, the naira currently is the best performing. Looking at where it had moved from 19 to where it is currently at 1,200.
The excitement and fascination that the Naira has been able to, Nigeria particularly, away from the Naira first of all. We've gotten $2.25 billion loan and a 10-year moratorium, and of course a 1% interest, according to the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edo. He says it's like having, a free lunch, little to no interest. That's like having free money. And for him, on the fiscal side, what they intend to do is to take long-term, low-interest loans while, soaring up resource mobilization in Nigeria. Let me hear your thoughts on that. I was going to ask another question, but let me hear what you have to say as, regards what the Minister of Finance has just established.
Yes, of course, having that amount of money with 1% interest for that period of time is more or less a free lunch, because probably you wouldn't get it anywhere. Okay, 1% interest, and within that long time frame given to us, I mean, it's actually a very good one. The question we should be asking as citizens of this great nation is: will this money be rightfully channeled? Will it be rightfully used to increase the economy in terms of manufacturing, in terms of electricity, in terms of education, in terms of so many more things that we know that if this money is rightfully channeled into these things, it's going to actually cause economic prosperity? Will it be properly channeled? And of course, we want to believe the Minister of Finance and also the President and his entire team for for what they will be probably doing with that loan. Okay, for me, I just have my reserves. Probably I will not be able to speak too freely on that. But what basically matters right now is that that loan will properly be used. I've seen on Twitter and also that is currently X and also on social media a lot of people talking hill about the government taking that amount of loan and even many more. But for me, it is not bad to have that kind of loan, okay? Especially looking at the interest rate. All right. Every billionaire I have probably seen, or every wealthy man I have probably seen, is more or less like a rich debtor. Okay, so we having that loan will actually give us opportunities to cause more economic prosperity for us, but let it be rightfully channeled, and that's why I have my reservations.
Okay, but we've from experience that you've seen what has been obtained in the past in terms of borrowing and rightly channeled, talking about rightly channeled to infrastructure. We've seen in the past where we borrow money and we can't see an appreciable investment in terms of infrastructure and impact from the borrowing, despite the many promises that we hear, so many promises. The few gains we see in the Naira from 1,800 to now 1,100 Naira. How sustainable is this? Bearing in mind that we're seeing the impact of monetary policy, and we know for sure that for that to be sustained, there has to be commensurate direction in fiscal policy. Do you think we are positioned to sustain this gain? Is the Naira, how prepared are we?
Okay, so first and foremost, let me just make mention of one thing. All right, a lot of people do not understand what we currently have. We're not running an 100% float system. Okay, our naira is not completely floated. Okay, so it's what we are currently having on ground is what we call the managed float. All right, we moved from the fixed price to dollar to the managed float. Now, the managed float simply means that, of course, the central bank and also the government will have some little input as to the price of the naira against the dollar. And so having this loan can, if we're well prepared, of which I'll talk about that, if we're well prepared, having this loan, all right, given to us will, and rightfully channeling it, okay, I'll also talk about that, will give us a very superior edge to seeing that the naira could be maintained at least at 1,000 naira to a dollar. Right. Of course, as at yesterday, it was trading at around 1,100, except for the massive bullish push, and then of course we see the naira trading at around 1,230 or so thereabouts as at today. So yes, we've seen little little monetary policies, and how it had affected the naira against the dollar in the last 2 months. It simply means that if we should add other factors or other key indicators, which is more like investing into the economy so the economy can be productive. So take for instance, we have that loan, right? Imagine investing it into our refineries. Okay, there are a lot of refineries that we have that are not really working, right? They are not fully working. Let me put it that way. They are not fully working. Imagine we are able to set up our refineries with that loan, and then we're locally producing and consuming the products of the refinery. Of course, that is going to bring the price of crude. That's going to bring the price of diesel and the price of fuel, the price of kerosene and other things down. And of course, don't forget that the prices of these things that I've mentioned, especially PMS and also diesel, are positively correlated to inflation of the country. Okay, of course, people are shouting, the price of things are going up. They are also largely dependent on the price of these things, all right, in terms of logistics, manufacturing, and so many more things. Okay, so rightfully channeling this money into things like refinery is going to really cause the naira to appreciate and also be sustained at least at around 1,000 to 1,100, sustained for a long time. All right, let's forget about in the past. Okay, we've also heard that the Cardoso have also been involved with him and his team trying to clear backlogs of FX and all that, which also cost appreciation of the naira. Yes, that all is good, but having this loan specifically that we're talking about and rightfully channeling it is also going to cause the naira to be sustained at a fair price against the dollar.
No, rightly said. Rightly said. So let's see. How has these government policies and all that? Let's talk extensively on how government policies that we've seen, even now and the previous one, how it has impacted the naira, and what can we expect in the near future?
Okay, so what we should be expecting in the near future is I know very well that I know very well that Yemi and his team, they are doing a whole lot. I trust me, guys. They are doing a whole lot to see the sustainability of the naira and appreciation of the naira against the dollar. And of course, we that is very evident. All right. Also, let me just mention before I go ahead to fully discuss that. Let me also mention because on the Twitter space or even on social media, a lot of people are saying that, oh, look, the CBN is still backing the naira. The CBN is still doing a whole lot, and a lot of people are saying that okay, after the ban of Binance, what next? Is the naira not going back? Is the naira not still losing against the dollar? And all that. Some people are even saying that there are even more worse platforms. I wouldn't mention name, right? But there are still some other platforms that speculate the price of the naira against the dollar. That is very true. But I would tell you categorically that those platforms that speculate the price of the naira against the dollar is not even the major cause. All right. So, but then what we currently are seeing now with what the team is doing, the CBN governor and the team are doing on ground, we're going to be seeing the naira being sustained for quite a long period of time. I'll probably not say that the naira is going to fall below 1,000 naira to a dollar. No, I'll probably not say that. In fact, I don't even see that happening in the near term, right? But I see the naira playing around 1,000 to 1,100 or 1,150 around those boundaries for a very long time. And that will also mean that there is going to be reduction in the price of things that earlier had gone up, okay? There's going to be a lot of reduction in the price of things that had earlier gone up. Of course, imagine foodstuffs that are moving from northern Nigeria, let's say from Kaduna or from Kando or from Sokoto down to the western part of Nigeria or down to the southern part of Nigeria. All right, these things are being moved by diesel or by fuel, right? And so if the price of diesel or the price of fuel continues to skyrocket, of course it's going to be affecting the price of these things, and that's what causes inflation, especially when it comes to food. Okay, so if of course we see that the exchange of the exchange rate is also reduced, that is significantly going to be affecting the price of food, the price of PMS, and also in turn affecting significantly the price of food, which we are going to be seeing in the coming weeks probably come down.
Okay, I've had analysts come on the show, come on the program to talk about diversification. A lot of people say that, when we diversify, we look into diversification of the Nigerian economy, particularly, that is going to help strengthen the naira. I'm particularly asking you because I want to hear your thoughts as regards the ways that diversifying the Nigerian economy can help strengthen the naira. Do you share in that thought
Before I
as well?
comment on that, I would like to say, sorry?
Please go ahead.
All right, so before I comment on that, I would like to say this, that diversification, for me personally, in my own view about diversification, it should be done by people who are already experienced or masters in what they are currently doing. Okay, so if you're master in anything you're currently doing, then you can begin to think of how can I branch out, how can I reach out. Imagine that you do not have total control, or you do not have a significant control of whatever you are doing at the moment, and you're thinking to begin to diversify, you'll probably be distracted. Okay, that's the point for me. You'll probably be distracted. So for me, diversification of the economy, yes, it's good. It's one way that we can have significant appreciation of our GDP, significant appreciation and flourishing of the economy. But I feel for me that the Nigerian government should at least focus on things that we can do within. All right. Now let me connect it to floating system. All right. The floating system is like a mirror. Okay. If you stand before the mirror fully dressed, whatever thing that you're putting on is what you're going to see reflected on the mirror. Okay. If you stand in front of your mirror stark naked, right? The way you are, okay, nothing is going to change. That's exactly how you're going to be seeing yourself on the mirror. And so what this means is that the free float simply tells us that, look, we are, this is where we are as a country. If we're a producing country, if we are an exporting country, all of these are the macroeconomic activities that is going to be significantly impacting and telling on the naira. Right? It's significantly going to be telling on the naira. I can bet you today that if Nigeria becomes a very huge producer, let's say we go back to producing cash crops and exporting them, we go back to producing cocoa and other things, we go back to exporting crude oil significantly, we go back to exporting a lot of things, producing and exporting. I can tell you that it's going to significantly impact on the naira. All right, we probably will be seeing the naira appreciate to the point that we can even see it as 200 to 300 naira per dollar. And that's, of course, what the floating system is. So whatever thing we see currently is managed float. That is the macroeconomic activities impacting on it, and also we trying to manually manage it. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is this here, that currently, if we want to talk about diversification, let us look at the macroeconomic activities. Let us look at the things that we can greatly influence before we talk of diversifying. Because if our attention is divided, then we probably will fail at everything that we're trying to lay our hands on. For me, that's just my honest opinion.
Rightly said. So we're just going to take a quick break. Thank you for that sense around diversification. We'll take a quick break, and when we return, the conversation continues. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, if you've just joined us, this is Business Point on Global Television, where we discuss Nigeria's economy, government policies, tech, and innovation. And we've been speaking with Tonya George, who is the GMEQ Markets Global. And we've been discussing the Naira comeback and prospects for economic turnaround. Mr. Tonya, before the break, you were speaking about the measures that we need to take, things that we need to look into before we consider diversification and, all of that. But let's move on to, I want us to talk about investor confidence. Over time, we've had investors, there's an influx of, we've had investors here, and then we also had investors have to exit Nigeria for reasons you are very well aware of. Let's look at measures, because if we're also talking about diversification, we need to look at boosting investor confidence in Nigeria that would potentially lead to a stronger Naira. Or what do you think? If you think in that light, because of course I expect varying opinions from you, but what measures do you think we need to implement to boost investor confidence?
Talking about investors' confidence, there are two major things or two key things that I would love to talk about, or two key things that I would love to, I think, mention or wrap my head around. So in the past month, when we've had the Naira instability, today Naira is moving from 650 to 750, and in the next 2, 3, or 24 hours or 48 hours, you're hearing it's around 800, and then the next thing you're hearing it's around 1,000. The whole instability period. I know that a lot of investors, both local and foreign investors, they lost huge amount of money. Okay, especially investors in diaspora, right? Who probably want to send in funds, repatriate funds to their own country, and then see how they can set up some investment. Imagine sending $5,000. Just imagine sending $5,000 for someone who is away, okay, for a purchase of a piece of land, maybe at 1,000 naira per dollar. That's about 5 million naira, right? And then the land is worth 5 million naira and it is bought, right? Now, normally we know that land banking or investing in real estate is very good business. Yes? Okay. Now, the Naira depreciates again to say 1,550, okay, and that land is now worth 5.5 million naira. So apparently you've made 500,000 naira on that land, which is about 10%, but convert that 5.5 million back to dollars is way less than $5,000 that you initially spent buying the land, right? Now, this is one big fear that is in the minds of investors. And how can we tackle that? Okay, one big fear, whether local investors or foreign investors, all right, local investors or foreign investors, they share almost the same plight. Now, how can we handle or tackle that? Number one is trying to find that the Naira is very stable. Even if it's going to float, right, let it float around certain axis so that we can literally say that, okay, the Naira, okay, I can go to bed at night saying that, okay, the Naira is 1,230 naira today. I can go to bed and confidently wake up tomorrow not seeing massive changes in the price of the Naira against the dollar. I don't want to wake up tomorrow morning or 1 week later or 1 month later and I'm hearing that the Naira is now trading for 1,800. That's what we're talking about. Now, if we can fix that instability problem as a country, which we earlier talked about, I mentioned ways that we can talk and fix the instability issues, right? If we can fix number one instability, number one, which is instability, it will instill a lot of confidence in both local and foreign investors. That's number one. Okay. Now, what is number two? Number two is that we already have good interest rates. All right. One time I read in an article that Japanese do not like to invest in their country because the interest rate is negative. That is minus 0.10%. So a lot of Japanese investors will love to carry their funds to the US and other parts of Europe as well to invest in economies that have good interest rates. So we have good interest rates, which is standing at around 24.75%. If we can have to maintain instability, then we have second advantage, which is interest rates. And then number three, which is the last one I'll probably want to talk about, is instilling confidence in, especially this one goes to foreign investors, right? Foreign investors, what they want to hear is, if I invest in your country, how would I be able to take my money back home? All right. In the past, we've seen a lot of investors who would want to get their funds back, but I mean, it's very difficult, extremely difficult. I wouldn't want to say, or rather, I would not say, because I do not know if Nigeria is one of the hardest countries to move money out. Okay, I really do not know, but in my experience over time, right, we're talking with some foreign investors and all that. That is a major issue, and so if the government can also look at it, not to see how investors, especially foreign investors, will be able to move their funds out, will be able to move their capital or their profit, whatever it is, out. I think that can also instill a lot of confidence in these guys, and then you will see a lot of investments coming into the country, and even within the country, a lot of people putting up their funds and putting it out for investment and all that, which is also in turn going to cause economic prosperity and naira appreciation for us.
Thank you, Tony George. Now let's look at how the central bank's interest rates and these monetary policy has shaped the trajectory of the naira. And also, I want us to look at global economic trends and events and how they influence the naira, and particularly what should Nigerian policymakers be most concerned about? What are the prospects for the naira over the next few years? And particularly what constitutes a turnaround for Nigeria's economy?
Okay, this is more like summary of all that we said. So, for me personally, I feel like Nigerian policymakers, all right, not just the CBN, who comes up with monetary policy, but also the lawmakers, and everybody who is at the helm of affair. What they should be looking at is to, what they should be doing is to come together and put up policies that is going to cause stability. Stability is number one thing. I don't even know how much to buttress that. Stability is number one thing. Take for instance, if you go to the Western world, if you go to the US, right, the price of commodities in the last 15 years have not significantly appreciated more than it is. All right, if let's say you're buying something for $1.25, in the last 15 years, that same product could be sold for around $1.45. That's not so significant. That's what we want, and of course, that's all tied to the value of the naira. Okay, so if we can find policies around making the naira a stable currency, all right, to a stable currency or have a stable exchange rate. Yes, it's going floating simply means it's going to fluctuate, all right? It's dynamic, but let the changes not be too high such that it's going to adversely affect the price of commodities. Then we can see that yes, the naira would be one of the best currencies that anyone would want to deal with, whether in Africa, whether in West Africa, whether in Africa as a whole, or even globally. So policymakers should come together, team together, and work towards putting out policies that is going to cause stability of the naira.
We'll just take a quick break right now, a very quick break. When we return, I want us to talk about, the Dangote and crude prices, just after this break. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. thanks for staying with us. We apologize for that, breaking transmission. And if you've just joined us, this is Business Point on Global Television, and I've been speaking with Tonya George, who is the GMEQ Market Global. Tonya George, I believe you're still with us.
Yes, fully here.
Okay, I'm sure you must have been following the trends with, crude prices and all of that. Just because of our time, I just want you to quickly make sense of, all of that. As of today, we hear that the crude prices have, dropped to about 940 naira thereabout per liter, and all of that. Can you just, give us your take on that, please?
Sorry, what dropped? Is it crude or diesel? What exactly dropped?
Yes, I mean, following the crude oil prices, the global current fluctuations in crude prices, how does this, affect the economics viability of refining local crude products versus importing, refined products?
Okay, so Nigeria stands at an advantage, given the fact that we have crude oil that deposited here in Nigeria. Okay, and of course we see the whole lot that the Dangote refinery is trying to do, trying to stabilize the price of diesel. Like earlier, I talked about this. I said that the price of diesel or the price of PMS is positively correlated or positively tied to the prices of fuel, to the prices of food. All right, simply because about 20%, about 15 to 20 or 25% thereabout of the production, delivery, and other logistics of food is dependent on that diesel for transportation. Okay, diesel for transportation, diesel for manufacturing, and all that. And so, of course, if we see that the prices of diesel or the prices of crude comes down, then we will probably see inflation also go down. And of course, that is also going to significantly be impacting on the value of our currency. So talking about diesel, we already know the ongoing geopolitical unrest and war that is ongoing in the Middle East. Of course, that has made the prices of the Brent and also the West Texas Intermediate, that is the US oil and the UK oil, let me put it that way, all right, to surge at around over 80 to $80 per barrel. I think Brent is trading for around $82 or $83 per barrel, and then the West Texas no. Brent is trading for around $87 per barrel, while the West Texas Intermediate is trading for around $82 per barrel. And this is significant on the global scale because of the Israel-Iran crisis, the Israel-Gaza crisis, and so much more, even in the Russia, whatever inclusive. But having crude here, it simply means that if NNPC can sell to the modular refineries, okay, the Dangote, even our own local refineries and other smaller modular refineries, right? And then these products are refined locally here. It simply means that we will even have an advantage to buy these products even cheaper. I heard that yes, NNPC is now supplying crude to Dangote. In the next coming weeks or in the next coming months, we want to see probably that the amount being sold to him would probably skyrocket, and of course we will see the prices begin to crash. It's natural, all right. Once we have these products in the market, excessive of these products in the market, it's just natural. It's going to crash the prices, all right. This is one market that there will not be so much speculation in the prices of these things. You can't buy diesel at, let's say, 900, and you want to sell it at 1,100. By the time you see a lot of people around doing the same thing you're doing, selling for it, let's say 950 or 900 thereabout, you'll be forced to also recalibrate your prices and all that. So I feel we stand at advantage if NNPC is just going to be doing justice to selling these products, the crude products, to modular refineries and local refineries.
Thank you very much, Tonya George. I was going to talk about, policy adjustments that are necessary, especially when we want to support local refineries in Nigeria for sustainability. But I think that would be next time on the program. We're constrained by time. But thank you
No
for sharing
problem.
your thoughts and your concerns around the naira and fluctuations in the global oil markets. We hope that you grace our platforms again. Do have a
No
beautiful
problem.
day
Thank you for
ahead.
having me as well. And you
Thank
too.
you. And so that's where we draw the curtains on business points. But if you've just joined us, we've been speaking with Tonya George, who is the General Manager EQ Global Markets. And he's been speaking particularly around prospects for a turnaround in Nigeria's economy as regards the Naira. From all of us on Global Television, we say have a beautiful day ahead until next time. And don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles using at Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. I'm Queen Agaba. Thank you for watching and see you again.